Now come on in and parents learning alongside, which was incredible. And so the last thing I want to get at is Sundays.
Yes.
Right? And I think this is one of the biggest parts is that Sundays in the church, right? Sundays and Wednesdays were what in the 90s?
They were sacred.
Sacred, right?
They were sacred.
Church owned them, as you could say, right?
We did.
You didn't have any soccer challenges on Wednesday nights.
Not even football started before like 10 or 11 a.m. I mean, you owned Sunday. The football teams would not start too early in the morning.
And that was
beginning
yours.
of the 90s.
Yeah.
Later in the 90s, they started pretty early.
That part is why the evidence of a church moving into a space that says every day is the day for the church. And people come in different ways. I think that was an incredible vision. And if there's anything I want you to take away from today, it's this. I want you to think about your families. And what we said is that Sundays were sacred. I grew up loving the church in the 90s, absolutely love it. They were sacred. They're still sacred to me. Wednesday nights were incredible. My mom led the Word on Wednesday, which we called WOW! It was the Word on Wednesday, and it was awesome for all these different grades. I grew up on that. It was sacred to me. What I'm trying to instill in my kids today is what is sacred. Here's my question for you. You are all unshrunk cloth. You are all growing right now. And I've seen this in the Pharisees and the disciples in the church, and the disciples by John versus Jesus, Jesus being dazzling white versus unshrunk cloth. It's all in the text today, but here is my question for you. What is sacred to you? What is sacred in your faith? And what is sacred in your family? Because as I look at you, and I look at this church, what my parents taught me about church, and the church I grew up in, grew this today from the 90s. What are we going to grow in 30 years from here? And who are you growing? And with that, all God's people said.